It is time for the Friday Fahles. Very excited to have a couple of great guests with me today to make fun of the week's news. Ed Kelly is back once again. I'm not sure why, but he is here. And, of course, Man About Town. You hear him on Mitch Albom's program on WJR quite often, doing movie reviews, among other things.
Wednesday night at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle.
Very good, very good. Oh, really?
Yeah, I
cool.
did open mic night. I'll be up next week.
Excellent. Well, of course, obviously been doing comedy for a long time as well. Long-time radio guy and Man About Town. Like I said, it's my favorite thing.
Legend.
And also we have with us today Spencer Hayes for the first time. Welcome, Spencer. Now he's, of course, a senior publicist at C&B Scene and a managing partner of Apropos Music. And I love this. I ask for a little biographical information of the guests so we can, introduce them correctly. My favorite part of yours, Spencer, was that you are an undefeated T-ball coach, but only because they don't keep score.
Exactly. I spent summer coaching a Detroit PAL team.
Yep.
5 and 6 year olds. Every kid gets a chance to hit, but at the end of the game, when they'd be like, "Coach, did we win?" I mean, I didn't want to, I wasn't ready to crush their souls just yet.
Oh, well.
They'll get there. Life is so difficult. Let them have that let them know that 1 year when Coach Spence.
Is where they get like a participation trophy, man?
Oh, the thing about that, I always wonder, people complain about it, but who's giving out the awards? The older people. So why are millennials getting blamed for receiving trophies? You guys are the ones giving out the awards.
It is our fault, us old people.
That's right.
Speaking of old people,
yes,
Tom Brokaw.
Ooh,
we'll talk about Tom Brokaw a little bit, because I've been watching Tom Brokaw since I was a kid, right?
Yeah, well, I turned them off now, okay?
he was my favorite anchor by far of the anchors there.
And you're going to go with the Tom Brokaw.
He stepped in it this week. He stepped in this week when he said that basically Latinos are not assimilating into American culture. I did something on my podcast about this, saying, what the heck does that even mean, first of all?
Well,
but he needs to assimilate into the nursing home, I'm thinking, because he sounded like it was a real get-off-my-lawn moment for him.
Big time, yeah. I don't think his filter is there anymore. First of all, I'm impressed that you could understand when he said assimilate, because his L's don't usually come out. Assimilate. Yeah, to me, Brokaw always sounded like he had a bottle of Absolute in the bottom drawer that would roll back and forth when you opened his desk drawer.
That is old-school journalism, though, right? Aren't you supposed to have that bottle of bourbon in the drink?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
right. I thought you meant bigotry.
You set that up.
And here's the thing. He came out with one of those classic apologies. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. You did offend somebody.
A lot of them.
And you could have just said, hey, I'm sorry, I was wrong, because he was wrong on the statement that he made.
Yes.
If you actually look at the numbers and how many people are learning the language, he was just flat out wrong.
And I think that speaks to something going on in our culture right now, where it just seems like there's a complete lack of any empathy or just common decency. And I'm not on the Howard Schultz train, certainly, and people should be active and fight for their political beliefs, but every single thing doesn't need to be like, the Alamo, and it's just kind of, it gets to a point where we can't have every single thing has been politicized and everything is so contentious that it's kind of hard. You don't know how to move on from it.
Absolutely.
I'm glad he mentioned the Howard Schultz thing, because that did not endear him to the common man. And who better to represent the middle class than the guy that invented the $8 latte?
That's exactly right. Well, he now knows what the price of Cheerios is.
And I saw someone point out that 480 people have technically filed to run for president, which is obviously preposterous. But they were pointing out, maybe cover one of those people that's actually officially running for president, and not a guy who's basically criticized a bunch of things, said some broad generalizations, but what is he actually for? You want to cut the deficit? Awesome. We want to win the Super Bowl. How? Explain what you're going to do. It's fun to just say things, but he has no track record to point to. So it's not like we can say, well, of course he stands for this.
Well, look, he's just another one of these CEOs, and there's something about this ego inflation that happens when you get to the pinnacle of the business world that makes you think that you can, that makes you think you can solve all the world's problems. Yeah. I can run Starbucks, so therefore I can run the country. It's not that simple, as we are learning right now.
In his defense,
businessmen do not always make the best politicians.
Yes. But in his defense,
businessmen might be too generous a term, because failed businessman might be a more accurate term, but we can get into that.
But you know that he stepped away from Starbucks for a time, right?
Yeah.
And the stock tanked. He walked back in. They were overselling the sandwiches. He walked in and went, Too much sandwich, bring back the smell of the coffee. The stock went back up. So, I mean, he can fix things.
Okay.
He does have a smell.
But
Sense of smell.
Yes.
And you're going to need,
And that's a
you need to
qualified
mask that in Washington, though, because there's a lot of bad smells coming out of Congress
yeah.
these days.
Government isn't a
Dixie.
business, though. What's the point of a business? To make the most money either for your business or to, for
Government-
your shareholders. That's not why government exists. And if I hear one more person make the analogy that, well, you can't balance your personal budget. Your personal budget and the budget of a government is not the same thing, and people need to stop thinking of it that way.
And the other thing that I always tell business people who think that they would make a great politician, name me one CEO that goes into a business where at least 50% of your employees are actively plotting your downfall. And trying to find a way to screw you every single day.
That is a good
make
point.
you look as stupid as possible.
That's a good point.
And that's something that politicians are used to, right? It goes with the territory. Yep. Business people are used to being told yes all the time. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Whatever. They find that out pretty quick that, hey, that guy that says he wants to be bipartisan and work with you, he's lying. He does not want to work with you, and he's not going to do anything to make you look good in any way.
Anybody that I work with, I immediately introduce myself by saying, "Et tu, Craig?"
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, well, all right. I do want to talk about this because the only thing that's been on the news here
Yes.
has been the polar vortex.
Yeah.
And as our resident Canadian,
Yeah.
I have to ask you about this because Windsor just went about their daily business. Schools were open. We acted as if this was going to kill us all.
Yeah.
I started playing hockey in the middle of the freeway.
And
There
the
you
mail did not go through, by the way.
Which was, the appointed rounds were not met.
Right.
But what is it about Canadians? I guess in winter in Canada, it's supposed to be cold.
It
It's
is.
something that you are just used to. It's a part of your psyche, I'm guessing.
Now,
and you worked in Winnipeg.
I did. I was a Windsorite, but I segued out to Winnipeg, where I tell people I served 2 years. It is very, very cold. It gets down to minus 50 Celsius. I can no longer do the math in my head going
That's
back
like
to
25 below.
Yeah, it's really, really cold. But because I was doing a morning show at the time, I had to get up at the coldest point in the 24-hour cycle, which was 4:30 a.m. So I'm hitting the parking lot. Every parking space in Winnipeg has an AC outlet. You have to plug in your battery blanket, your block heater, your oil heater. So, of course, being from the east and not the west, I would pull away from my parking space without unplugging my car and then roll over the card and have to go to Canadian Tire and get another one about 3 days out of 5. And then not only that, the lubricant in the door on the hinges does not function. So you're trying to get the door open on your car. You get in. The lube in the steering column does not work. So there's no such thing as power steering at that time in the morning. Not only that, rubber does not flex at those temperatures.
Yes.
So you're driving a Flintstone car to work until the rubber is flexible, and it shakes the heck out of your vehicle and destroys it, basically.
But you still go about your business and
Yeah,
you get
you do.
things done.
Yeah, what does it say about our country that Ed was more committed to a morning show in Winnipeg than our president is to doing his
Good job
job?
in Washington.
Ooh, wow.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, he's
We're
had
going right
one
back there.
event on his schedule for
Yeah.
like 3 weeks now. I mean, the guy is clearly just like, I don't care what your politics are.
I'm golfing. I'm a duffer. It's a business thing. I have to do it. I own golf courses.
That's my favorite.
Let's talk about the wall for just a second because we are hurtling towards the potential of either a quote-unquote national emergency about the southern border or potential government shutdown once again. He's talking about this. He went so far as to say it was Paul Ryan's fault that there's no wall funding, so he blamed Paul Ryan. That's
If
and
only we had him on tape, like taking complete blame.
But he did it again
for-
yesterday. He went back on and took the blame for it. Well, here's why I did that. And basically suggesting that, it was a political game. Look, I know what it's like to not get a paycheck. That sucks.
Big time.
And it's one of those things that he was willing to do that, and now he's taken ownership for it once again, and he doesn't realize that this is actually really hurting his approval numbers.
Yeah.
He's in the tank right now.
Yeah, which is why he ended the shutdown, by the way, because his numbers plummeted. But I've got 3 words for this: totalitarian temper tantrum. Pardon the alliterative, but that's what it is.
But
I shed us one single tear.
see, I am advocating for a wall on the southern border, the border between Detroit and Windsor, so we can
Oh,
keep
really?
Ed from getting back into the country too often.
Well, I think
one of
we
those
talked
things.
You got something against strippers?
I think the talk about who's to blame even gets away from the issue that, like, it's not a major problem. Every single metric that we have shows that the numbers are falling. I saw a number 60% of undocumented population has been in America for over a decade.
Sure.
It's just So like go back to the very genesis of this theoretical solution, and there's not even a real problem. And
But the
like,
caravan.
No, the problem is
Yeah,
they
where
don't
did that
have one
go?
of these.
What happened to the caravan?
Okay, this is a green card. This is what you need to get into the country legally. Okay? Something there is that doesn't love a wall. It's not me. I love a wall. Believe me, all in all, it's just another brick in the wall. And I don't care who pays for it, but I'm going to shut down the government if they don't.
man, it kind of feels like we're living on the dark side of the moon when I have to listen to that.
It's cold enough.
See what he did there?
Ah, very
That was a
good.
wall.
That was
Yeah,
good.
that
I know.
was a
That's a
little
little Pink
Pink
Floyd
Floyd
fun.
segue.
Pink Floyd on the Friday
Too
Fahles
cool for
here.
school.
Spencer Hayes, Ed Kelly, my guests on the Friday Follies. All right, let's talk about this too, because President Trump yesterday, or 2 days ago now, came out and his intelligence staff was on
Which is
Capitol
an
Hill.
oxymoron in itself.
On Capitol Hill, talking about the perceived threat from Iran and other countries, and saying, Iran pretty much is complying with the nuclear agreement still. They're in compliance. We don't see any real threats. Donald Trump comes out, says they're all wrong. They should go back to school, he says, but then comes out yesterday and says, no, they're going to see it my way. They're going to understand the way that I understand. I'm like, wait, these are the people that are actually doing the research that you're being briefed on. So wait, you understand what's happening internally in Iran better than your national...
It was remarkable, just the sheer number of things that they said he was wrong about. And the thing that was most staggering to me is that he was denying, he said that he was taken out of context for something that was aired live and fully documented. And at what point does the context excuse stop where everyone uses that? And well, okay, why doesn't anyone ever say, so explain the context?
Well,
what was the context that justifies?
Yeah, they're
this
wrong. They
being-
don't understand how big a threat they are. And I'm like, okay, you're trying to make a case. What case are you trying to make? That Iran is now the biggest threat? Because it was North Korea, or we're meeting with Kim Jong-un again.
Yeah.
At some point, maybe. We'll see. I'm sure that's going to go well. But I'm just... Is this anything to distract people from the other stuff that's going on? Because
You
Iran,
mean like the nuclear arms treaty with Russia going away this morning?
Yeah. That's all good stuff, by the
Yeah,
way. You
great
know, Russia. What's Russia?
No collusion.
Well, yeah, that's
And young
falling
man,
around.
you remind me of Don Jr. You really do.
Oh man, that is like darn near a slur.
Well, but here's the thing. If we have to,
SNL. Did you
whether
see
whether
that?
you like President
NL.
Trump or not, the one thing that we all can agree on, because Sarah Sanders told us so,
Yes.
is that God wanted Donald Trump to be president, and that's why he's president.
Yeah.
And so,
it's divine intervention.
well, I'm wondering, so does he only get involved in certain elections? Because there's no way Sarah Sanders thought that God wanted Barack Obama to be president for 8 years, but he was. So maybe, is it possible that, God is getting involved in our political battles here in this country?
Isn't he too busy deciding who wins the Super Bowl and who gets the best cinematography Oscar because you couldn't do it without, I mean, it's really
I mean, she is
a
Mike
really crazy
Huckabee's
thing
daughter.
to hear. Like, you're allowed to have your own personal views, but like in the course of an actual discussion, to just use that as you can have religious faith, but to put the onus on me to have just like blind faith, that is just straight up propaganda.
So does that mean I get to go to church on Sunday and yell at the pastor saying, dude, what'd you
George
do? What'd you
Orwell's
do?
editor would have crossed that out and said, 2 on the nose, man.
George Orwell.
This is supposed to be satire, like subtle. Come on.
And well read, too. Well, if you ever need to talk to God, Craig, you just call me and I will answer all of your prayers.
Thank you, Mr. Graham.
You're welcome.
I actually was at the dedication of the Billy Graham Library outside of
Wasn't
Charlotte, North
Billy Graham,
Carolina.
was it actually?
Well,
Was that
it
Morgan
sounded like
Freeman?
Morgan Freeman, thank you.
Oh,
You got
thank
it.
you. Well, I didn't get that one, but
That's
no.
all right.
So I was at the Billy Graham Library dedication.
Yeah.
4 living presidents were there,
Well.
and I got to sat next to Joel Osteen on one side, Ralph Reed on the other. Talk about a weird experience.
Yeah.
There were only like 100 people there, but every televangelist in the world was at this thing,
Yeah.
all basically giving props to the Godfather.
Yeah.
And
So what did your wife say when you came home with trunks full of 75-pound food buckets?
those are great. Those food buckets, by the way.
Like,
They last.
that's
Basta.
that is a fever dream, watching those. Like
That's
the
Jim Baker.
apocalypse is upon us. Like it is there
See
in
Jim
their
Baker
mind.
though
It's
with the
crazy.
hipster beard now. He's looking kind of like Burl Ives a little bit, but he's
bit, yeah.
definitely got a
Silver
better
and
look going
gold,
on.
silver and gold.
Oh, should we just go there right now? Then, if we're going to talk about gold,
Yes.
public art.
Yes.
Public art is always something that creates a little controversy, a little discussion. But few pieces of public art have gotten as much attention as this new, what is being referred to as the golden butthole of Macomb County. This giant ring on Hall Road out by Lakeside Mall.
Somebody
like, welcome to
jokes
Sterling Heights
so
or whatever it
little
says.
time.
Mine was when I saw the headline, I thought that was just Trump's pet name for Ivanka. I mean Melania.
And I thought it was his portrait.
Man.
So, what do I
But this is great, though. This guy starts a Facebook page.
That he bought at his own auction for his own foundation.
and put up.
But this
yeah.
guy starts this web page, or this Facebook page for the gold, what they're now calling the golden butthole. And the mayor of Sterling Heights is actually like, yeah, I think it's great. We're getting attention for this thing.
Branding.
But the site is hilarious. I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
going to read some of the memes and some of the things that are on there, but they're getting thousands and thousands
Do
of
not
followers
click
on Facebook.
The golden butthole hashtag. That is a risky click.
Yeah,
my
You
friend.
don't
I'm
want
sure it
those
is.
emails.
You were praying that it's going to be Rick Roll.
But,
It's
exactly.
kind of like my friend Big Al. You punch in by Gal when you're looking to Google him, and boy, the sites that come up,
Yeah.
it embarrasses him.
But
I was disappointed.
I understand why they do it, but they spend a lot of money on this thing, right? It was
Right.
not cheap. And again, public art is always somewhat controversial.
Unless you're Tyree Guyton, and then it's free, right?
Sort
much,
of.
yeah.
Sort of.
Look, I am not an expert in the field, but to me, when I heard golden butthole and I was like, it just kind of looks like a ring. It's just
Well,
like
it
a
is.
circle.
It
It wasn't
is.
like
Which is what a butthole is anyway.
I thought-
Fill in the burning ring of fire.
They're like, Egypt has a golden sphinx. We have a golden sphincter. That one was
You're on the board.
That one was on there. So,
Okay.
I don't take credit for that joke. That was somebody posted it on that website. I
That's
perused
you
it for a
credit the
while.
source. You're a true
It was pretty
journalist.
darn funny, but at the same time,
Art isn't art unless it pisses
I mean,
you off,
Hall
Craig.
Road,
Don't
Hall
you know
Road,
that?
but Hall Road pisses me off anyway.
Okay.
Just because I don't like driving down that road. It's
Yeah.
dangerous. There's not enough traffic
there-
lights. People go a million miles an
look
hour.
at this elitist talking about Trump country so derogatory.
Is there a
Maybe.
road in Michigan that's safe that you know of?
Oh, boy.
I mean, it's not Heinz Drive, I'll tell you.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if we fix the roads, fix
They're
the damn
using Hot
roads.
Patch right now, anyway.
Oh, here's my favorite thing. 4 former legislators, right? Speaking of the roads,
Yeah.
or like Bob Emerson and Ken Sikkema. These guys were titans in the legislature on the Democratic and Republican side. 4 retired legislators who were there at the beginning of this funding crisis, which goes back to the Engler era, now come out and say, hey, we know how to fix the roads. 47 cents a gallon tax for the next 10 years.
Yeah. Add 45 cents
Yeah, exactly.
per gallon. Yeah.
Which is true. But I'm thinking to myself, hey guys, why didn't you do this while you were there?
Yeah.
Because there's no way this new batch of people are going to do this. You had a way. You had no term limits back then. You had enough name recognition that you could survive whatever tax you decided to put on.
Yep.
So now you're like, well, this is the simple solution. It is the simple solution, but you had the power to do this like
Yeah.
20 years ago, and
Everybody's
they didn't do it.
brave once they're term limited out. Have you noticed that?
Here's the thing:
Or
these are
they're
guys
retiring.
these are
Yeah.
guys I actually respect. I watch them make deals all the time in Lansing back when I covered the Capitol, and the 4 guys involved in this are all smart, accomplished legislators. Actually, came up with some pretty impressive, deals back then when they were still willing to make deals with each other.
Deals.
The tax
Yeah.
thing is always 3-card Monty, though. It's like when the lottery gives money to the schools, well, the money they were giving to the schools goes back to the general fund. You know what I mean? It's
Well, sort of. The money from the lottery does all go to the schools,
right.
but yes, that just
Yeah.
that much less that they have to
And
give
then
from
they
the general fund.
right.
Well,
So
it just seems like on a state or federal level, all of our systems are kind of built with the expectation of good faith, that people, our politicians, are represented. This is democracy, man. You vote, they go to Washington or they go to the State House and they fight for you on your behalf for what's best for their constituents. And that's what like all of our systems are based on. And now they just don't work because it's just a pure count. It's a like straw poll, and if you have the numbers or you don't, that's the only thing that matters. We don't actually care about building consensus.
no, typically we don't. Not in this day and age.
And so maybe they just
Sad but
couldn't,
true.
All right, I definitely want to talk about this for just a second. The Texas Republican Party. I thought this one was particularly bad.
Fun group.
right?
Egregious?
Yeah. So Holocaust Remembrance Day, right?
Kind of illustrates my point that I was just making.
And so the Harris County Republican Party in Harris County, Texas, posted a message to Facebook saying, we are here to remember, it's Holocaust Remembrance Day, we'll never forget. And then with the hashtag,
Good so far.
leftism kills. Now, I love this little bit of revisionist history that seems to be making the rounds right now.
yeah.
That somehow, because they were called the National Socialist Party, the Nazis basically, that means they were a left-wing party.
No.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
they're about as far-right fascist as you can get.
Doesn't pass the smell test.
Wait,
No,
you mean
it doesn't.
nefarious and infamously
But-
misleading propagandists were not direct?
But using Holocaust Remembrance Day to
as
promote
propaganda.
this
basically.
propaganda is
Gross.
really disgusting. And they took it down and they're like, oh yeah, sorry about that, but leftism kills.
Well, dude, you know what they say, everything's bigger in Texas, including the bullshit.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. But I mean,
It's kind of just, it speaks to the memification of politics in our culture. Everything needs to be one simple, if it can't fit in a top line, bottom line. So, National Socialist Party, socialism bad. Venezuela, can Venezuela ever come up and people won't go, that's socialism, But they never talk about like Norway or Sweden or Finland.
He did
or
say
anywhere.
memification and
Yes.
not meanification.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, either way.
well, speaking of Venezuela, John Bolton, right, of course, National Security Advisor to the President, comes out of a meeting the other day with his legal pad. Normally, when you go into these meetings, cabinet meetings, you come out, you have all your stuff in a folder so that people can't read your notes.
Yeah.
He's got a note on there that says 5,000 troops to Colombia. I'm like, oh, wait, what? What? Are we actually thinking about sending troops to South America just
Yeah.
in case Venezuela blows up?
Right.
Or is he writing fan fiction again?
Well, that's exactly. Is this just like, this is my dream, this is what I want to do?
And not only that, in the digital age and with the Zooms, you can really bring out the detail in things.
Well,
cover that stuff up.
John Bolton's track record
Yeah.
makes me think that he likes sending troops around the world.
Yeah.
We know this about him. He would
Well-
like to send them to Iraq again to just go into Iran.
Have
he
you
would like
read
to,
Drift by any chance?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But how did they do it on purpose? Was this done on purpose, or do you think he just was that careless?
It's so hard to say now because the Democrats do the
He's
same
sending a message
thing.
to
They
Venezuela:
leak.
get your crap together, or else we're coming down
We're
there.
coming in. Regime
Boneheads.
change, really?
It
Us?
is, like it kind of, with Valentine's Day coming up, it seems like, like a do you like me? Check the box. Like, it's just kind of,
That's a candy heart.
but it would be kind of fun if they just started like putting little Easter eggs for the downfall of our country.
Perfect. I kind of like it.
Spoiler alert.
How about this one? Apple
Yeah.
had a little problem.
Little glitch.
Little
FaceTime?
glitch where FaceTime, basically, you could watch what people were doing.
I'm the guy that
And that's
covers.
the problem. So it was never off, right?
Yeah.
It was just on, and you could basically listen to what people were doing, saying about you.
Well, what you say before you answer the ring goes through, so you better not be cursing your boss when the FaceTime call comes through.
This is a bit of a problem.
Yeah. Well, I think Apple is not Apple anymore since the titular head went to the celestial body. Really, I mean, things have not been the
Mr.
same.
Apple?
Mr. Apple. But,
He's a good man.
that is a pretty significant glitch, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
and-
son of a glitch.
Like,
right
how is
there.
that even built in? Like,
I don't know, but, all these companies say they take our privacy seriously.
right.
Clearly they don't. I
No,
mean,
they take our metadata seriously. is what they
absolutely,
take, yeah.
because I will guarantee you, my phone is in my pocket right
Yeah,
now. If
there-
I
yeah.
mention that, hey, I'm thinking about buying a new car,
Yeah.
I bet you when I open up my phone in about 15 minutes, there's
Because-
going to be some ads for new cars, because it's listening.
Yeah.
They're always listening.
see, I read an article about that because I've heard that a lot. And what it is the fact that every person that you're connected with, it all goes into the same thing. So if I bought a TV or if I like something or if I'm here, it's all the geolocation, the fact that we're all here together and we saw something, then something that you like and something that you like will
Hey,
affect
Siri.
my algorithm.
Are you listening to me?
Probably. Well, Alexa does. We know that. I mean,
Yes.
that thing's just on all the time.
yeah.
And
But I like
my
it.
TV turns it on every time a commercial for Alexa comes on. And I get my daily update.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop.
I was talking on my iPhone. I said, "Hang on, I got to." What was that in the background? I said, "I had to shut Alexa off." So she comes back on the blue ring.
I'll tell you one thing that freaked me out, and I kind of think that we all willfully accept this. You know, I know that the terms and conditions, no one reads it. That's like a continued bit that people say, but we sacrifice it for the use of these services. I mean, they need to pay for them somehow, and if something is free, then you are the thing that they're making money off of.
Absolutely.
What freaked me out is I have one of those Google Homes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very much, their counterpart to Alexa, and you can go into your Google account, and it literally has I can listen to the recordings of things that I like, tell me what time it is, did the Tigers win, no, things like that, and so that.
Do you really have to ask if the Tigers won these days?
I'm excited for the upcoming season.
I mean, it's like Al Avila came out the other day and said, hey, by the way, the team's going to stink for a little while. I'm like, no, really? You traded everybody away and you got a bunch of rookies coming up. It's going to be a fun season.
Yeah, they look about as threatening as the Caravan. But it just, that to me, and it is useful because sometimes you need to know where somewhere is, and I can go back and see the places I visited, and as long as you're not doing anything nefarious, I thought hey, if I ever get accused of murder, I can use Google to show them that I was just watching cat videos at home.
Somebody took your phone and they went there, and
but it has my voice. But then that makes me think if this is what they're letting me see, then what can they see?
That's very true.
I'm an impressionist.
If I want to do Tom Brokaw at a murder scene, he may very well be guilty.
Say, yo quiero Taco Bell.
Yo, Earl Taco Bell.
Assimilate.
Is it time for news?
Well, yeah, go ahead, Tom.
right.
Give us the news.
Thank you very much, Craig Foley. Thanks to the polar vortex, frigid temperatures are gripping the Great Lakes region. Well, we are not alone. This morning in Washington, they actually had to jumpstart Nancy Pelosi's face. Saturday is Groundhog Day, as you know, that's tomorrow. And you know how this works. If President Trump's hair sees its shadow, we'll have another 3 months of government shutdown. And Sunday, of course, Super Bowl. The real physical conflict, however, will likely happen on Monday when my bookie comes to collect. Broken leg of lamb for supper on Sunday. Starbucks is teaching baristas how to deal with customers who might be angry about Howard Schultz running for president. Unfortunately, though, there's still no plan to teach baristas how to pronounce your name. My name is not Tim Brickay. All right, millennial losers. Assimilate, for God's sake. Tyson is recalling. You're welcome. You're welcome. Tyson is recalling more than 30,000 pounds of chicken nuggets this week, as they may contain rubber. There is even a chance that some of the nuggets may contain chicken. In other rubber chicken news, KFC announced it is testing a new Cheeto fried chicken sandwich. Who says America isn't great anymore?
That's right. All right, I got to stop you, Tom, because we definitely need to talk about the Cheetos chicken sandwich from KFC. Because last I checked, KFC is oh so healthy.
Yes.
Because remember, they were the creators of the Double Down.
I need a fact check on that.
Double Down was great.
First job, my first employer.
Really?
Yes.
Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yes, KFC.
Wow. So what are the 11 herbs and spices? Do we want to know?
I can tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Are you the next colonel?
You should be. It'd be good.
Everybody else seems to have the gig. Norm Macdonald gets it.
It's a great ad campaign. Those are funny, but they will sell a ton of these things.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Cheetos have legendary status, right?
I know. I use them for makeup.
And Taco Bell, remember, Taco Bell and KFC are the same company, same parent owner. I think it's PepsiCo, right?
Yum
Brands,
yeah.
Which is a division of Pepsi, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
It might be.
Anyway, there's
they had the Doritos Locos Taco, which at first I was like, this is just, why?
And then you ate one.
I ate one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll try the Cheetos sandwich. I'm not sure. But
yeah.
It seems like everyone is chasing the Dorito. That's the perfect
but talk about the best
mashup
cross promotion, because they own that brand, if I'm not mistaken, too. I think Frito-Lay might be part of that whole thing. So he's got the Doritos and...
Can we say Frito-Lay? I mean, if you're a bachelor, do you really want to advertise that kind of thing? I mean, Craig.
Yeah. But I don't know. Will you try one? Would you try one?
No,
I love Cheetos.
I'm vegetarian, so...
Oh, are you?
That's out of the question.
Cheetos...
When I hear
gotta be vegan, aren't they? Or they're fried in something, but vegetable oil.
Yeah, I can scrape the outside.
That's right.
Just have a bun and it'd be like a vegan Whopper, right? You just don't get the meat on there, just all the other stuff. People order those all the time.
I know.
All right, go ahead, Spencer.
Oh, I was just going to say, when I hear stories like this, I start wondering if I need to do a better job assimilating, because I have no idea why. Like, I love Cheetos and I like fried chicken, but why they don't need to mix? I mean, maybe it will be great.
You deep fry a motorcycle seat and it tastes good.
That is true.
But is that what assimilation into America means? You start eating crap like that?
Pretty much. Listen,
Get with it.
Our commander-in-chief is a big fan of fast food. And
Well, as we saw, that was a couple weeks ago.
He
We already
certainly
talked about that
will,
one, so we can't really go backwards.
I understand.
But if I go to the White
Yes,
House,
we can.
we're trying every day. All right, we've only got about 5 minutes left here, and I definitely want to get into this. Minor league baseball is a wonderful thing, right?
Yes.
Because they have teams with the fighting carp and stuff like that. We've got the Lansing Lugnuts, and I love it. Traverse City has rebranded their baseball team. They are now the Pit Spinners, of course.
Yes.
Living up to the Cherry Country heritage there, but what a great name for a baseball team, the Pit Spinners.
You have to say it very carefully, though. Right? Say it 5 times in a row real fast. Come on, I dare you. Come on, Craig.
I'm not going to try that, but that's all right, because it's
skill
going to go
challenge
somewhere.
question.
It's
Still
going to go
better
somewhere
than
bad.
Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
true. Very true. But they could play. They could play.
I'm sure that they are playing minor league baseball stadiums.
They could get a gig somewhere, It'd be nice to have them
an old
back.
Karnak joke. Snow White's cherry. What's red and has 7 dents.
Oh my! You can't do Disney. You can't do Disney
You're
porn.
right,
You just
you're
can't. It's not a good place to go. All right, we should end with the weirdest story I saw this week, and I always try to find one story that is just bizarre. There's a lady in New Mexico that kept finding bologna sandwiches left on her front porch.
I saw the
Nobody
story.
knows who's doing this or why, but she looked at it and found out that somebody had not just been doing it, but they'd been urinating on the sandwiches before they left them on her porch.
Oh my.
And I don't know.
As you do.
That's exactly
everybody?
Right. That's exactly right. But I'm thinking to myself, well, a bologna sandwich has never really been my favorite anyway.
No,
But
mine either.
Is this some sort of fetish? Is this some sort of weird thing?
Well, do we know if the person peeing was free range?
I have no idea. They don't know who the guy is or why he's doing it.
Oh my.
But it's not. She's not the only one. He's apparently done it to a few
We
people
know why he's doing
in the neighborhood.
I'm kidding. Why would anyone?
What would make somebody think about that?
It's just strange, is what it is.
I mean, we were talking about the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
I got a better one.
Yes,
I
last
have
week.
the jingle.
Oh, well, let's hear it.
My baloney has a first name. It's Urine. My baloney has a sponsor. His name is R. Kelly.
Oh boy.
You leave me this crap every day. I think that you must be insane. Because you're a nut bar, I must say. I think I'll switch to PBJ.
And with that, we close out the Friday Follies. Spencer Hayes, thank you very much for
Thank
being
you,
here. Appreciate
Craig.
it very much. Nice job.
appreciate it.
Very
Rookie,
good job.
rookie
Yeah.
comes out swinging, does a good job. Appreciate it very much. Ed Kelly, always a pleasure.
The pressure was mine.
Even if you end with that.
Pit Spitters, check me out.
Yeah.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Pits bitters.
Well, thanks to Michael Lucido for engineering the broadcast today. He's right over there. You can't see him, but
You
one
rock.
of these days I'm actually going to put him on the camera.
And on the payroll.
That's right. That's right. One of these days I'll pay people. That'll be good.
I can't believe you wore a mink coat like that.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, hey, thanks everybody for watching. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. It is going to warm up. It's actually like 8 degrees out there today. It feels fantastic. The Vortex 2019 is behind us.
We'll be singing soprano next week.
That's right. Absolutely. Have a great weekend, everybody. This has been the Craig Folly Show, the Friday Follies on Deadline Detroit. Tell your friends, subscribe to the podcast, find it anywhere that you find podcasts, and thanks for watching today. Appreciate it.